We're live. Dang.
This is Small Axe Talks, and today I'm here with Leon Logothetis. He is a public speaker, author, as well as host of the television series The Kindness Diaries. Thank you again, man, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay, so if you don't mind, I'd like to talk just a little bit about kind of your background. And I know you were a broker for in London in a family business, and you were not, particularly happy in that career path. And you had seen the movie Motorcycle Diaries. So what was it about that film that kind of resonated with you and made you want to completely change your lifestyle?
Well, it was the story of a romanticized version of the story of Che Guevara traveling around South America. And it starts off with his father wanting him to finish his studies and become a doctor. And he turns around to his father and says, "No, I don't want to do that. I want to go out into the world and see the world and have an adventure." So that I kind of related to that. And then he goes around and he meets the world. He has some amazing experiences and he has some terrible experiences. And he relies on the kindness of strangers, and he opens up his heart, and he gets hurt and he gets inspired. And it just really struck a chord with me. It was a beautiful kind of story of how I wanted to live my life as well.
Awesome. So how long, after you had originally seen that, how long did it take you to kind of, transition your lifestyle and to find your passion?
Well, the movie was really a tipping point, meaning that I'd kind of reached slowly a point where it just needed a little nudge to change everything. And the movie was that nudge. So it was only a couple of months after I watched that movie that I quit my job and started to travel around the world relying on kindness.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow. Okay. So how did you end up in LA? Was that because you knew the film industry is there and you kind of had to be around that kind of area? And how did you assemble your team?
Well, basically, the first journey I took was I walked or hitchhiked from Times Square to the Hollywood sign, relying on kindness. And I ended up in Hollywood when I finished the journey. So I thought to myself, well, I'm going to stay here. And I'd been traveling a little bit around America before that. So I was able to stay in America.
Beautiful.
And specifically in Hollywood.
And was it easy to get the right team organized before your first season of the Kindness Diaries? Was that hard to find the right people?
Not really, because I ended up having good people around me. I used people who were close to me anyway. And it was a very small crew. So we're always under a lot of pressure, but we've been under pressure together often. And we decided that we would live this life, and that's kind of what happened.
So the first season, when you had the yellow motorcycle, what were your expectations going into that? And I mean, did you think that you were going to be able to finish the whole series, or did you? I mean, how did that end up at the end of it? What were your kind of thoughts about everything?
Well, look, I remember thinking to myself, I think you may have bitten off more than you can chew in this little adventure. And I remember having a tremendous amount of anxiety the morning of the beginning of the adventure and thinking to myself, what have you done? But once you start something like that, it's very difficult to stop because you have a mission. And the mission is to circumnavigate the world. And the mission is to inspire people. And if you quit, you will not complete your mission. So I kept on going.
That's awesome. So when you got back, how long did it take to edit and put the first season together? And was that, I don't know anything about that whole industry out there, but was that hard to get in front of people and try to like pitch this show?
I mean, I'd been doing it for a while because when I moved to LA, I was running a TV production company. So it
Mm.
was something that I had some history in doing. But it wasn't so simple in the sense that many people didn't want the show. It wasn't like, oh, we did the show and it was funded and it was all done. It wasn't. So it was much harder to do. We were very fortunate that in the end, Netflix picked up the show. And then the rest is history, as they say. But it wasn't an easy process. I'm not an A-list celebrity that can
Yeah.
just pick up the phone and say, hey, do you want to fund my show? So it took a lot of work, a lot of luck, a lot of people believing in us. And that's really how it ended up happening.
So how long was it before you started the second season?
So I finished the first season in 2014. And I started and finished the second season in 2018.
Okay. So
And
what?
the second season aired on Netflix, is airing currently and started airing in February 2019.
So what were your expectations going into the second season, and did you experience anything that was different that you felt was unique versus the whole first season?
Yeah, well, the second season was me driving from Alaska to Argentina in a 50-year-old car. So to some degree, I knew that it was going to be very challenging because I'd already done a similar journey with the bike. On another level, I hoped that the bike would work, that the car would work, and I
Mm.
knew that the bike didn't, so it would maybe be a bit easier. But the car did work better than the bike, but as you know, it also didn't work.
Yeah.
So it was very challenging. It's an emotionally draining experience, very rewarding, but also deeply emotionally draining.
Yeah, I would imagine. So that was one of my questions is how do you stay sane when you're under those conditions? Because I would imagine like even just normal traveling for people when it's just for fun is hard on people. So how did you kind of keep it together?
There were times I remember when I was in Alaska and other times, but in Alaska, this was in the first few days. I was freezing because there was no heating in the car. I was driving on basically ice. And I was saying to myself, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to yourself again? Like, stop, enough. And what came back was, look, you're doing it because people are going to be inspired. People are going to watch the show. People are going to have their lives touched, hopefully in a beautiful way. That's why you're doing it. And I could never argue with that answer. And I would always keep on going.
That's awesome. Okay, so I have a few other just kind of like random questions that I had written down here in no
Do you know
particular.
what I think is? Do you know what I think is really cool? I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask you a question. I think
Okay.
your viewers would be really interested in hearing this. I want your viewers to know. I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Okay. How did you and I meet?
Yeah, so I was going to bring that up, but
Okay. Yeah. How is it that you and I are doing a podcast? Because that in itself is quite extraordinary.
so I have always been a huge fan of like travel shows, and I think I mentioned to you when we had originally met, like I love Anthony Bourdain. Anyways, long story short, when I saw both series. They were both originally on Netflix, but it resonated so deeply with me, and I had never seen anybody express what you had expressed through a television show, and I'd never seen that before. So I originally reached out to I don't know, somebody from a PR team on your website, and I wanted to speak with you, and I just got some generic response. And a few months later, I'm in Old Town Scottsdale, randomly at some coffee shop, and I see you. And I stand up and I'm like, Leon, and you had your fedora on, and your crew with you, and you guys were doing that, whatever it was with Southwest, and yeah, I mean, it was totally random, but honestly, I haven't been doing this podcasting thing so long, but I'm being totally honest, you're one of the top people that I would want to speak to, period. And the fact that I ran into you randomly in Old Town Scottsdale is so bizarre. You know, that whole day, like I was just like in kind of like this weird like cloud because I was like, what are the fucking odds that I would run into this dude? I had no idea you were here, you know? So yeah, I mean, it was amazing.
It's beautiful. The power of manifestation, eh?
And that's exactly what I put on, you know, my Instagram post is it's like, and that's what, you know, I wanted to ask you too about, you know, kindness and just that whole like vibe that you put out into the world is just like, does that not only feel better for you as an individual and make you happier, but does that also potentially make your dreams come true? You know, does that give you the life that you truly want to live?
Absolutely. 100%.
So have you now in your life versus when you were in London? I mean, is your life totally different? And are you living the dream that where you wanted to be and what you wanted to be doing?
Look, on many levels, the answer to that is yes. It's not perfect. There are still moments when I wake up not in my optimum state, let's say,
Yeah.
do things that I'm not particularly happy doing. But more often than not, yes. You know, here I am talking to you, having a conversation about beautiful things, having someone that even cares about talking to me. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Creating content, touching lives, hopefully positively. It's very beautiful.
That's awesome. So what are your plans for the future? Are you gonna do another series where you know you're doing the same concept where you travel off the kindness, or are you gonna try to switch things up?
We're
Or
doing a bit of both. We're doing a season 3. We're doing another show actually next week in Argentina, a pilot for a travel show. Um, you're on Southwest Airlines, by the way.
really, you guys
Yeah,
use some of that?
yeah. So next time you fly on Southwest Airlines, it's the show is called Where Have You Been? In fact, you can watch it on their YouTube page.
Really? Okay.
Where have you been? Go to the Southwest YouTube page.
I'll check it out.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. You said some very wise things.
Thank you, man. I'm trying, you know, we're trying out here. Can I ask you mind a few other questions, just kind of random questions?
Sure.
Um, so after you put out these 2 seasons, are you getting recognized more on the streets? And how does that feel to be a celebrity?
It feels good to be recognized as long as they recognize you for something positive. It's good. It's nice to think that you've done something that has touched people's lives, has inspired them to keep on going, has inspired them to come from their heart.
Do how do you think, besides just trying to your best every day to go out and just be a kind person, how do you think you can get more people to come from their heart and not, you know, think so much in their heads?
It's a good question. If I had the secret to that, I'd be a billionaire.
Mhm.
I would say that kindness is a win-win. If I'm kind to you, and if I come from my heart with you, you win, and so do I. So if you follow that formula, everyone wins. So why not follow it?
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Maybe I will become a billionaire.
Do you get people that reach out to you that you knew when you were younger and living a different sort of lifestyle and ask you like, hey, how did you get to a place where you're truly happy and passionate about what you're doing?
I get more random strangers asking me that question than
Hmm.
people I used to know.
Okay.
To be honest, I don't really have that many people in my previous life that I stay in touch with.
Really? Okay. Um, what are just another again random question? I know I watched another podcast and you had mentioned that you've read a lot of books that have been really meaningful and helped you in your life. Are there a few books that you would recommend to people that you have found helpful for you?
The Drama of a Gifted Child It's a brilliant book. If you want to know why you do what you do, read it. Read the first paragraph, and if it speaks to you, the whole book will change your life.
Beautiful. Okay, I've never heard of that before.
It's by Alice Miller.
Alice Miller. Okay. I also saw in another video, and I believe one of your dogs, Winston, has passed away. Is the other one still alive?
Yes.
What was her name again?
Nani.
Nani. Okay, yeah, Nani. I saw in that video that you used to travel with two pillows that resembled your dogs. Is that still happening?
I'm surprised that YouTube haven't deleted that video, or I should delete it myself. No, it doesn't happen anymore.
Oh man, that's unfortunate. Okay. I thought that was hilarious. Okay, one more thing. When, like I said, this whole theme in these series of being kind, do you really feel that, like I said, we talked a little bit about this, but do you think if you are that person who is kind and you come from your heart, that you will ultimately be more fulfilled in your life and you'll have a more enjoyable life, meaningful life?
100%. 100%. That doesn't mean that you should let people walk all over you. Absolutely not. Do not let anyone walk all over you. But that doesn't mean that you can't be strong and be vulnerable. You can. When I give speeches, I tell the story of Muhammad Ali. He's a man of service, of love, of kindness, not a perfect man. No one is. And then I show a picture of him smiling. And then I flick the switch and I say, how many people would mess with Muhammad Ali? And it's a picture of him punching someone in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can be strong and you can still be kind and you can still be vulnerable and you can still be compassionate and you can still be empathetic, but never lose your strength.
Yeah, that's something you hear a lot from people that or I've heard a lot from people, is that they have this like idea in their head that kindness is weakness, and that, to be a kind person, you're weak, you're a pushover. But like, I totally resonate with what you just said, is you can be kind, but yet, strong at the same time. So that's beautiful. One more thing. How do you maintain your passion and creativity?
That is a good question. Look, sometimes it wanes. When something is going on in your life that is dragging you down, it wanes. But ultimately, you use that pain to be more creative. And if people stopped caring, if I felt people weren't listening to the message, then maybe I would stop. But the message is universal. Yeah, pretty much. Even if you're not connected to your heart, you still feel someone's compassion. You still feel someone's empathy. You feel it. But not everyone loves what I do. I get people having a go at me. I get people saying, how dare you go to India and ask someone with no money for help? I get people telling me, oh, you're a narcissist.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like, it is what it is. If that's the way they see it, then that's the way they see it. Doesn't mean that we stop doing what we do, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean if someone says to you, oh, I don't like your podcast, you're going to stop. No, you're not. You're going to keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, I've gotten a few of those.
Yeah. People are going to hate, and that's just the way it is. And you can never please everyone. If the story of a man going around the world connecting to people's hearts upsets you, then so be it. You can always find a reason to hate.
That's true. That's very true. Well, Leon, I just want to say, genuinely, your series really did, in this, especially this current time that we're in, it was refreshing, and it was beautiful to watch. And I've watched it several times, and I look forward to see what you do in the future. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and speak with me. And I really appreciate it, man.
It's my pleasure. And do you want to know why I decided to say yes to speaking to you?
Why?
You want to know why?
Yes.
Because I see a fire inside you.
Damn.
And I see a heart that is large and wise. And that is why I decided to sit down and talk to you.
Wow, that's so awesome, man. To hear that from you, that's fucking awesome. So thank you very much. Yeah, I'm going to continue to do what the goals that I'm pursuing. And like I said, I can't wait to see what you do in the future. So thank you, Leon.
Keep going.
All right. Thanks, man.
Okay, bye.
Adios.
Bye. Bye.
That fucking recorded, right?